Hello there and welcome back to Sound Chemic Podcast, the place where we talk about everything about the music world we live in, regardless of how hard it was for us to set up today. Isn't that the case, Terry?
It is indeed. How's it going, girls and boys? Very happy to be back. Very happy. And it's great to have you here as well.
Look, sorry for taking long. I gotta make this quick announcement. We had all sorts of trouble going live today.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, the USB hub that we're using to actually connect a good chunk of the gear needed for this to be functional.
Well, everything
decided not to work today.
Simply,
just cause. And we realized that it wasn't working like 5 minutes before going live. So you can imagine that we're kind of stressed. And if I look sweaty to you, sorry about that. I was actually going fast as possible. SF. Okay, so introduce us to today's concept, please.
So the idea today is talk a little bit about if we can still find, or where could we find potentially role models in the music industry, a place or an entity that is played to the core with bad examples and bad lifestyle
promotion of particularly problematic lifestyles.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, and I'll even open this with a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Because rock and roll has been one of the biggest associations within music with a dangerous or a damaging lifestyle and bad habits and stuff like that, and excesses.
Yes.
Do you think that rock and roll really is the genre that promotes this more than others?
I think is the only genre there is that is actually not promoting that kind of lifestyle, being very frank. And I think a good chunk of what is known of rock music in general is the result of, should I dare say it, propaganda. Kind of the opposite to puff piece. What would it be? Like a political
campaigns.
Smear campaigns. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. I will elaborate a little bit more on that later on, but yes. And let's address this first comment here we got from Joss. And once going to need to go there because I covered about this.
Well done.
This is very rushed.
But first and foremost, hello, Joss. I remember from reading before a part of the comment, he's mentioned that he won't be able to join us today. It's a shame. Hopefully you'll be here for the next conversation.
Yeah.
But he also, outside of excusing himself, he's actually giving his first take on the matter of role models. So if you can share it with us.
Yes, here he said, he left the comment here. He's saying that good role models are hard to find. Mm-hmm. I'd say Christian musicians or old rockers that quit vices and deter kids from drugs and promote learning and instruments are good ones. Yeah, I'm gonna take them from there. Yes, one thing, I just wouldn't say that just because you're Christian doesn't mean that you're necessarily good, okay? But it happens that most Christians happen to be good people, so there's something about it. But what you're saying is something that actually inspired to this conversation, because we're having this talk yesterday, actually, before beginning while playing the way for the studio. We were having this conversation regarding how the pop industry is kind of, and by pop I mean everything that is mainstream, okay? Popular, is kind of always promoting a particular set of personality traits or particular ways of interacting with life, targeting a particular demographic, in this case young girls. Yeah. Because I saw somebody on X making this comment that I could found to be quite mind-blowing. I never stopped to think about it from that perspective. But he was making the claim that they always promote or position pop singers, female pop singers that are catering to a particular age group, which is in between 13 all the way down to 18, 19, 20 years old.
Young girls.
Always presenting them as kind of in infantile or kids-like environments, but in with a particularly sexy overtone that is not necessarily speaking appropriate for the content of the lyrics, or even the lyrics themselves tend to be a little bit kind of
sexualized.
And I, for one, I have no issues with that. But I can see his point, because the point he was trying to make is that by presenting this kind of overly sexy, because I know what kind of words can I use on YouTube regarding this, so be mindful about that. This kind of how can I put it? Lifestyle, put it this way, because it feels like they're kind of shown to you in a very too sexy for their own sake, but in an environment in which makes them feel like it's childlike. It's not necessarily adult thing, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, because in a way it's kind of mixing two things that shouldn't be together.
Yeah, but one of them is very easy for the girls to react to or interact with, because it's very similar to what they live through, right? And having this clash kind of normalizes the idea of them being, it's okay to be a little bit raunchy, it's okay to be a little bit risque, it's okay to be blah 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 blah. But then he makes the next point. It's because when they grow up, they become old enough, they graduate from those to the next batch, which is the ones that are actually just promoting the battery.
Yeah.
All of the new rappers, and I don't have to name them, you know the ones I'm talking about, who are actually promoting kind of deviant or less than a pious
Or even healthy.
or even healthy lifestyles.
Yeah.
And that actually sparked this conversation, because we were trying to see, okay, what's the equivalent to that in rock music? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
To a degree.
Yeah, but how much of it is the result of them being just... But nobody in that particular period knew what kind of repercussions that those substances would have on you. And if you think about it, a good chunk of them, if not the vast majority, are reformed addicts.
Yeah.
And a good chunk of them are always advising on dangers of falling for any form of addiction.
Yeah, true.
And look at that. Josh was already mentioning that before we even had this conversation live in front of you. So what do you think?
No, I think Joss and now you as well touched a very important point, which is something that it is virtuous in nature, even though it comes out of a path of, well, failing before, which is redemption. Yes. And I do think that a good redemption arc, it is inspiring, and it does make for good role models, because you don't necessarily only learn out of what's good, you learn out of overcoming what's bad.
Yeah, actually. And I'm yet to find and meet someone in the rock in rock music, live rock music, or musicians in general, to be excited or inspired by those successes. Most of them, but basically everybody that I have met in my kind of long career doing this, they never mentioned the whole thing with them being like wild, or their heroes being someone who is renowned for being crazy and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah. Most of them either focus on the music, and some of them even have praised their efforts from going sober. Get me?
Yeah.
And that makes me think that we got in rock music plenty of how can I put it? Stories of redemption arcs, but also like a warning.
Yeah, cautionary tales.
Cautionary tales.
Yeah.
Get me?
Yeah, I get you.
Because the ones that got really wrecked are the ones trying to stop you from falling on their own missteps.
Yeah. And that's someone to follow.
Yeah, that's actually...
Yeah.
Because at least you know that it's coming from a place of factual experience, and they're not trying to convince you to do it out of moralizing. And one thing, before you start to see that we are party poopers and stuff, now we're not. For each his own, and I don't give a damn what you do with your life. But there is a fine line that shouldn't be crossed, which is everybody knows how far they should push, man, when it comes to having fun. And it's something that is universal. I don't have to explain it to you. You already know it.
Yeah.
And as much as I can attack somebody on modern music, I can easily attack, and I will be even more prone to attack people of my ilk, because I know them much better than the ones that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I have, for example, many things to say about Freddie Mercury, but I always say it from a place of respect for the guy.
Yeah.
Or for example, Guns N' Roses. Let's think of this guy, Axl Rose, known for being what? A prick.
Yeah.
And also kind of drunk.
Kind of wild, yeah.
Wild, but not in the fun way. Kind of somebody who is angry. Yeah. And not necessarily somebody that you would like to have fun with. because he's volatile.
Mm-hmm.
Out of what? Excesses, bad temper, and kind of a weakness that could be easily exploited, that pushes that temperament forward. That's nothing to be proud of. And I still have plenty of respect for the guy, because the guy, they're super clean now. They're sober.
Yeah.
He's one of the very rare examples of a singer still capable of singing at that level, with that level of intensity, and after living through so much.
Yeah.
So maybe he got lucky, or he simply got his stuff in order early enough.
Which is actually what it looks like. We can know for sure, because we're just bystanders in this whole thing.
Exactly.
But that's the impression that I get, at least, is that he has his stuff in order nowadays.
Yeah. The same happens, or could be said about Slash.
Yeah,
He also looks very, very sober, and they are performing better than ever. You know, at a professional level.
Yeah.
Efficiency level, because they are way much more precise. Because there is that particular shameful performance, Slash and Michael Jackson, man.
Oh, that was
that's all. You have seen it, right?
Yeah.
Don't watch it if you haven't seen it yet.
It was during Beat It, right? That he.
Yeah, he failed. He simply sucked, man. He was super drunk out of his mind.
Yeah.
Here in the stage, even Michael Jackson is trying to pull him back, like
try to cover the spot for him, but
no, failing miserably. Well, that was terrible, and that was very sad to see him.
And the thing is, now coming back to the whole notion of being a role model.
Yes.
Even though rock and roll has been associated with the idea of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, is even like a kind of motto of sorts.
Yes.
But no person is gonna watch, for instance, a musician being way too drunk on stage to perform correctly, and think, "That's great. Everybody's gonna look at it like, that's kind of sad."
It is sad and pathetic, man.
Yeah.
But I kind of think of a particular period, early 90s, man, when the whole thing with Nirvana and stuff, don't know how much of it kind of was also pushed.
I don't think that was natural, being very honest, because
of course not. Of course not. I think it's a natural reaction of anybody to when you see somebody who's meant to be doing something at a professional level, failing at it due to lack of self-control, man.
Yeah.
That's not only it's disrespectful, man. And your normal reaction would be like, "You suck, man. I paid for this, and this is the respect to show to that."
Yeah.
But you know that during that period it was kind of praised.
Yeah.
It's like that early 90s are kind of a weird beast in their own.
Yeah, because for instance, one icon that I think that is kind of counterpointing a little bit of what we're saying here is Lemmy. Lemmy by Motorhead. Yes, because he's taken to a very high status, and even to some kind of worship.
Oh yes.
by his fan base. And personally, I never. Now, music aside, we're talking about something else now, okay? Because I actually enjoy some of the music by Motorhead.
Yeah, me too.
Not particularly a fan, but they have fun stuff.
Yes.
But now, when it comes to the lifestyle choices and some of the stuff that he promoted quite openly, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of contrary to what we're saying. And I think there's also a kind of a push in that direction. I don't think it happened also 100% naturally.
I feel the same way as you do, man. Because just because we praise rock and roll, that doesn't mean that it's the only genre that hasn't been is devoid of sin to throw the first stone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's far from it. There are bad apples and good apples everywhere. The thing is that you start to see that there is some form of consistency.
Yeah.
In the quality of the apples, depending on the genre that you're looking at, right? Yeah. And in this case, let me say an example of that what you mentioned. How much of it is being promoted? How much of it was actually an act? Because a good chunk of what the moral panics of the late 80s, early 90s brought was the idea of rock. Stop perceiving the performative acts of a rock concert and taking them as if they were actually real. The whole thing with Ozzy Osbourne, for example, and him biting off the animal head, because he didn't only did that to a bat live. Well, he always used props, okay?
Yeah.
And the idea was for him to look like the madman, because what they were promoting, what? There of a madman? The idea was for him to do the stunt of him being actually crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that he was clean and sort of course he wasn't.
Yeah.
That's one of the it's not legacy. I refuse to use that word on that regard. He has way many more assets to discuss other than that. as legacy. But the whole thing with him biting off the head of the bat, if you don't know, he used to do that on stage, but it was using a prop, as I mentioned before. And somebody actually threw a bat. I wanted to believe that the bat was dead, because I don't know how easy it would be for you to get inside of an open venue
with a live bat,
with a bat that is alive,
Yeah.
for you to throw it and get close enough to the stage to you can throw it. So I want to believe, it sounds and makes total sense that the bat was actually dead.
Yeah.
And he beat it off, beat the head off of that, and of course he didn't realize it. And he realized it as soon as he felt the actual blood. So it was nasty. He had to get all sorts of vaccines and stuff, because it could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And rabies, I think, once you get it to a certain point, is basically more mortal.
Yeah.
So yeah, and but people took it seriously. The same what happened with Twisted Sister. Do you remember the whole shebang with them?
Yes.
The moral panic around it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah.
they were promoting destructive behaviors, and that they were basically trying to convince the world that cats and dogs should live together and stuff. Fun, right? When did that happen? I don't know, like convincing boys to dress like girls and stuff like that. When did that happen? It wasn't while Twisted Sister was around.
No.
It happened when something much more contemporary happened. So why did one genre got the attack? Why did it become the punching bag and the scapegoat for the entire music industry?
Yeah.
While the rest that are actually clearly promoting stuff that is not healthy, the ones that are heralded as something that is fun and non-threatening. Just saying, just asking questions here. What do you think?
I think this takes us into much more sketchy territory, because this that you're pointing out is basically that these things didn't happen by chance. Okay, it was actually pushed in that direction. The whole notion of rock and roll being making for bad examples, or being something that you shouldn't follow, that you shouldn't adhere to, while let's say the pop industry, who very honestly, even though is a little bit better, is presented in a more family friendly package, it probably holds even more excesses, even more arguable lifestyles, and it doesn't create this kind of controversy. And there's a reason for that.
Which reason is that? Do you know it? I don't know it, man. Because I'm gonna give you an example. A friend of mine, he joined. He's allegedly learning how to fight. Okay, he enrolled himself in a mixed martial arts gym. And from time to time, they are allowed to play music while warming up. I have my gripes with that, but whatever. It's not my dojo. The thing is that the guy told them, the leader, that they can play wherever but rock music, because he doesn't want them to end up all acting crazy on the streets. So they can play gangsta and all sort of thuggery inspired rhythmical content, but you can't blast goddamn straight to heaven. What is this, a Guitar Center or what? That was a Wayne's World reference. What do you think?
No, I think that because this kind of instances.
I think it's because sorry, I let me finish.
Yeah.
I just forgot why I'm telling you. I got lost in my own stupidity. I think it's because that guy is still stuck in the stigmas from the 80s.
But those stigmas were generated.
Agreed, man. Agreed, because I remember the White House wipes.
Oh, what?
It was. I don't know. It's Washington wipes. I don't remember. It's all of a sudden a bunch of wipes from different senators and stuff coordinated themselves to attack what they consider to be unmoral on pop media. And it was during the have you seen the hearings in which Dee Snider, Frank Zappa showed up? It's during those.
Okay, yeah.
And when Frank Zappa actually presents a very good argument, also Dee Snider presents a very good argument in favor of rock music. But it was during that period, and it was out of that. And don't you think that it's kind of at the same time, or funny that it happened at the same time as the Satanic Panic of the 80s as well?
Yeah.
In which they attacked not only heavy metal music and stuff, but also goddamn Dungeons and Dragons out of everything, man.
Yeah,
For real.
I can't think of anything more harmless.
The most harmless, nerdiest shit
Yeah.
thing you could do with
Yeah.
your time. Yeah, they attacked it.
I think we got a
Yeah,
comment popping
Roman
up there.
Galeno saying David Bowie did the same 70s. With androgyny, people pick the role models according to what attracts them, whether they are straight, bi or straight. Yeah, he did. But it was a performative act, man, because he did that while he was doing the Ziggy Stardust persona. Because when he finished that era, he moved over to Cyanide Insane. That was a completely different character, man.
Yeah.
And then he became the pale white Duke. Or was he Yahtzee? Because I don't know if I can use that word in here. Get me? It was an act, man, and everybody saw it for what it was until that happened.
Yeah.
Good comment, Roman.
I find it interesting how what happened, or the perception of what happens in the rock industry, for instance, is kind of opposite of how it's taken elsewhere. Think of how people take at face value, let's say, Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Just because of the antics and
theatrics.
The theatrics, but at the core, the music, what it actually promotes, what you get out of listening to it.
It's just fun.
It's just fun. It has nothing to do with any of that.
It's not serious by any means.
And you see, for instance, on the pop industry, the opposite happening. You have something that at face value is harmless, but at the core, at what it promotes and what it contains, it can be actually very harmful.
Yeah, and look at this from this perspective. You brought Alice Cooper to the conversation. He's a goddamn staunch Christian.
Yeah.
Goddamn staunch.
Yeah.
He's a staunch Christian.
Yeah.
And he's the same what happens with Dave Mustaine. I even mentioned that interview. There is a very interesting interview with him. Dave Mustaine, the lead guitar player for Megadeth, and a time singer, allegedly.
Fantastic guitar player.
No, he's not that good.
No,
He's a great composer. Megadeth is a badass band. He's also very, very religious. And there is this interview with this guy, another podcaster, one of those boring podcasters that are part of what makes this era as lame as it is. And during that conversation, he brings up a bit of what pushed him into becoming Christian. He mentions that he got, among many things, into all sorts of ritualistic stuff, right, when younger. And out of his experience, he says something that, like, okay, that's a very good argument. By seeing the other side, I couldn't deny the existence of God. Okay. If that's how they can convert people Islam. But no, we can use that guy because he plays goddamn heavy metal.
Yeah.
Like, hello?
Yeah.
Don't you want more people on your side? Just saying. Yeah, Roman here saying Alice Cooper was considered bad because he was an alcoholic now. Agreed, man. Agreed. And that's the issue. They were quite into many things. And that didn't make them role models back then. In the case of Alice Cooper, he's a role model now out of his own redemption arc. He got it. At least he got it. And at least he's trying to do something better with himself now. Is it too late for him? Don't know.
No, look, what I find it very
At least he is doing it.
Yeah, what I find to be very interesting is the double standards and trying to understand the reason behind those double standards. Because if you see excesses which happen on every niche, everywhere there's going to be people, there's going to be excesses.
Yes.
Regardless of genre, regardless of anything. When it happens in rock and roll, that's pushed to your face as a bad thing.
Yeah.
When it happens in other genres, let's say rap, hip hop, or trap, any of that,
it's
glorified.
Yeah.
It's empowering.
Or he's put in a pedestal that you have to respect him. He's going through many things and stuff. It's tough. And when it happens over here, it's like, ha, that's vice.
Yeah, so there's a very different approach to those equal scenarios on different instances.
Yeah, and look, here Romani is mentioning that Tobias Forge of Ghost is Satanist, but says he's a good guy. Look, Satanism doesn't necessarily mean devil worshipping. There are plenty of how can I put it? Because I don't want to go down into the rabbit hole of the whole thing with the cult, but. He could simply be one of those guys who are just practicing an anti-religious approach, and that doesn't put him in a moralistic standpoint in which he's one or the other. He's simply anti-religion. Probably. I don't know. There are of course other routes in which you start to get into the funky business, okay? But I'm not gonna get that deep into those details, because it could be that I might be putting stuff in front of him that it's not correct.
Yeah.
But once again, being Christian doesn't make you also a good people, a good man. That has nothing to do with it. What makes you good is being good. But there is correlation. There is a consistent when you see certain attitudes. Okay.
Yeah, but I'll add something to what you said. What makes you good is being good, but also what makes you good is overcoming bad, which is a lot of the stories that we see within rock and roll.
Yeah.
Which I do think they deserve to be held as inspiring, or in a good light. Let's put it like that, because even though they're showing you some of the bad, the strength and then the example that is set in overcoming that is something that should be cherished.
Yes.
And it should be promoted. That actually should be promoted, because we can't fool ourselves into thinking that there is no bad, there's no evil.
Yes.
Actually, we should praise, we should value the people who face that and manage to actually find a different route.
Agreed. But you're making a comment that is very, very, very related to what Roman here is saying, because he's mentioning Bob Dylan, who is Jewish, of heritage, in 2020 mentioned in an interview that he sold his soul for fame. Now he's a Christian too. I don't know if Roman is trying to imply that, look at this, certain Christians are not good. You're correct, man. But you can also look at it from this perspective. How about if they realize that, wait a second, I might repent of my own stupidity, and I am still around, so let me see if I have enough time to kind of fix my stuff. But one thing that Thiago is saying is very, very important. Just because you are now changing your ways, that means nothing related to everything that you did before. Because part of what makes you a role model is acknowledging and the act of self-responsibility, being conscious about everything you do, and the repercussions of those acts, and what I think Roman is saying here, and I think we're gonna end up colliding with this one in a proper and positive way, is that they might be using the whole thing with spirituality, the newborn spirituality, as a way to kind of wash away all of the ill that he did while younger.
Yeah, the sins of the past.
Yes. You might be onto something, man. I'm not saying that you're incorrect, because there's a chance.
Yeah,
but there is no way for me to know it. The right thing to do is give him the chance to prove themselves right.
Yeah.
Only that. I'm not going to say that they're correct.
Yeah.
I'm just simply saying that since I can prove that they're doing it out of scapegoating, it might be true, it might be sincere. Let them prove themselves.
Yeah.
Let their actions speak for themselves.
Yeah, because redemption has nothing to do with religion.
No.
It may be a path, but it's not definitely not the only path.
Because look, you mentioned religion, and I mentioned spirituality. They are not correlated. One is an offshoot of the other, because spirituality is what allows religion to have some form of sense, right? And at least it justifies the existence. And spirituality is something that everybody has, regardless of where you position yourself. Even if you consider yourself an agnostic or atheist, there is some form of spirituality within you. And it's probably one of the sources for you to find the moral balance between your actions and the world surrounding you, how you interact with that world. So I consider that spirituality, it's something that has to be fostered and something that has to be part of everybody's actions. Because look at this. You got this guy, Russell Brand. All of a sudden, he becomes an staunch Christian as well. And he's now very anti-establishment. Okay. At face value, it might be that he's trying to, he might finally understood the terrible lifestyle he was following, right? But also, if you start to see that he all of this happens right after he's being attacked and kind of politically assassinated online and stuff, like, what a coincidence. Could it be that one is his decision to become Christian is out of him trying to be accepted by a particular crowd that never looked at him before? Now that his original crowd is giving their backs on him. Just saying. Again, I cannot make the assessment right now. I will give them the benefit of their actions to speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And while that happens, I'm on the fence. I'm just exposing the facts, because I even stated before probably Roman arrived that being Christian doesn't make you good. Doesn't equal being a good guy.
Yeah.
It's just a trait.
Yeah.
And happenstance leads towards a much. They tend to be better, okay, in a moral sense. Tend to, okay, hashtag not all, another fact. Here Roman said, Kill will find the role models and follow them, even when they know some role models are bad. Gold Horse is a satanic evil band, and kids now know what they are singing about. They know what they're singing about. I don't know if those guys. I'm gonna check them out, because I happen to like quite a lot kind of evil sounding metal. But look, Roman, you're correct. Everybody will find their role models. What allows you to decide if the role model you got in front of you is a good one or bad one is you, and you alone. And what this makes you decide if you're gonna follow that role model or not is you, and you alone once again.
Yeah. But look, I on that regard, I have something to say, because even though I agree with that statement, I think there's a line that needs to be drawn. This that you said makes sense for an adult.
Yeah.
For somebody who's perfect, who is already within their proper faculties, well developed, mature enough to make these kind of decisions.
Yes.
When it comes to a kid sees as a role model what is presented to it as a role model.
Got you.
And that's when the problem begins.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Because let's say a 7-year-old kid who nowadays already have access to the entirety of the world through a smartphone doesn't have yet the moral compass fully developed, the maturity to make decisions. Oh, okay, this is a good role model to follow. This isn't. What is a kid nowadays more likely to be exposed to? Good role models or bad role models?
Good point. In general, man, I would say that, well, since I've been alive, and since I can remember, usually what is promoted is the bad role models.
Yeah.
It's always put in a pedestal of, because this is cool, this is edgy. How much of that is done out of the sexiness that comes from danger? A good chunk, I won't deny that. And as a rock and roller, you know that a good chunk of what makes it appealing, particularly to women, is the danger factor.
Yeah.
Is the the wild aspect of it. A woman. So we have this tendency of finding that is considered to be kind of evil to always be attractive. And why? Don't know. That's part of our nature. That's
the forbidden fruit kind of thing.
Yeah. But just because you're intrigued by it doesn't mean that you are into it. Get me?
Yeah.
Because your actions is what speaks for you rather than what you might think, because you think one thing today and you think another thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
But what you did today cannot be undone. So that's actually what defines who you are.
Yeah.
So being intrigued by something doesn't mean that you are part of it, right? Sorry, I'm kind of under the weather, so I'm recovering. So it's not that I'm getting sick. I'm starting to feel better. Yeah. So if I look back to my how I was yesterday, so I think when you deal with someone who is not mature enough to have developed enough of the moral compass engine inside of him, and you take advantage of that and present them with certain attitudes, with certain lifestyles, and present them in a way that looks fun and non-threatening at all, you are not showing them, you are pushing them into. Because the kids are always, when you're young, you're drawn to wherever you think is cool. Yeah. And what do you think is cool? Where they tell you is cool. Yeah. Because you don't have enough life experience to be able to decide to do the pondering act, the measuring, to measure stuff based on their qualitative properties. Yeah. Because you have no idea yet. Yeah. You need to live more, and that's when they take advantage of you. Yeah. And that's where I draw the line. Because, for example, I happen to be a huge fan of King Diamond, Merciful Fate. He's probably the first guy that claimed to be a satanic, and he did it before it was cool. He was actually attacked, and still does, and still is. Sorry. and I happen to be a huge fan of his music. He's excellent. Abigail, great album. Listen to it. And also Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath. That's badass. Classic heavy metal. And if you want to go satanic, that's full on satanic, man. The entire thing is all about demon worshipping and shit. So is the true. Also, you got bands such as Immortal and stuff like that. That is very much evil and doomy sounding. But have they committed any crime? Not that I know of. And so why haven't they? Maybe because they have some good understanding of what morality stands for, right? I happen to be a fan of that as well. So when somebody acts in accord to reality based on morality, which is a response of us as individuals to the way that the natural order of things follows and flows, that's why I said that morality is something you know. I don't have to explain it to you. You already know. And if you don't, we have to be careful with you. For real. Yeah. Because those who are able to do crazy shit, the evil kind of crazy shit, is because they don't have they don't have that moral compass, man, that the rest of us actually have. And that's what that's where I think the whole point of being a good role model comes from. Doesn't come necessarily speaking from being a zealot, religious zealot, or being an anti-establishment guy, because having certain attitudes doesn't make you morally correct. It's your actions what defines and what will dictate in the end if you're morally correct or wrong.
Yeah.
What do you think?
If you want to address the comments,
I will.
Give my take in a moment.
Yeah, here Roman here is continuing with the kids. He's saying, but kids, find the band's role model sexy. Yes. Tony Bennett versus Ozzy. Yeah. Who do you think will win today? Of course, man. You're right. Yeah. You're right, because one is sexy, man. One is fun. One is dangerous. It's kind of... I'm going to put it. Well, it's Ozzy Osbourne, man.
Yeah, and it has more appeal, clearly.
It looks badass.
But look, I think that's where because basically the point
that you were making... man.
Because look, the point that you were making before about it being a self-responsibility deal, where you should be able, and even Roman said as well, everybody picks their role models.
Yeah.
I think seeing like how, especially on children, this kind of phenomenon occurs, artists does have a measure of responsibility. Because you could say, let's say, taking the position of the artist now, an artist could say, no, even if I'm doing bad stuff or if I'm portraying a bad example, it's on them to pick me as a role model or not. But there is a point where it becomes a problem.
You are correct.
There is a sense of self-responsibility on the people, but I think the artists also have a measure of responsibility, understanding that he is in a position of influence.
Yes.
Because the light in which artists are put, by the very nature of artistry, is always one in which their opinions are going to be regarded more highly, their attitudes are going to be seen in a good light and stuff like that. So there is a measure of responsibility there as well.
They turn themselves in some form of to some form of man of history.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because when you're in a position of I wouldn't say power, because it's power, but it's a different kind of power. You have actual influence over people.
Yeah.
Why? In my opinion, is because Pink Floyd, a band that I like a lot. Roy Waters is a very big mouth bass player for the band, and he's the lyrical genius behind the band, mind you. He's not the genius, okay? Let's state it that way. He's part of what makes Pink Floyd the legendary act they are, and credit where credit is due, he's a great lyricist. But he also happens to be a big mouth. And I happen to agree with him often, but often enough I happen to disagree with him very much, to the point of being totally contrarian. And at many levels, because he likes to get himself enrolled in political debates, and not debates, but controversies, man. Like, dude, I get that Pink Floyd partially was a little bit of it's an anti-establishment band, but whatever. Because I want to end up talking about something that is not related to this conversation. Will be probably for a better another day. Even though I have a huge level of respect and admiration for the band, I develop the tough skin to see that Royer sometimes says stupid and crazy shit. And just because I can see that he's sometimes full of shit doesn't mean that I like them less.
Mm-hmm.
I simply learn to separate the art from the artist. I mention this as a preamble of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
The reason why people, in my opinion, holds the opinion of someone, let's say an actor, singer, scientist, the ones that are popular, you know. But I'm gonna stick to the artistic expression, okay? They hold those opinions so highly, not because of the intelligence or the wisdom behind those words.
Mm-hmm.
It's because people have attached the emotional reaction and the memories that they hold that are theirs to the artist, the actor, or the musician. And that alone makes them unable to read actually what is being said, man.
Yeah.
And that's where the idolatry happens. That's my own take on it. I don't know if I'm right. But up until this point in my life, and after seeing what I have seen, I kind of lean towards that direction. What do you think? I'm going to read this.
I think it makes sense, and I do agree that people have this tendency of holding the artist at the same value as they hold their art. But that's a big mistake, because that's basically abandoning objectivity when it comes to the person, because the artist and the person are very different things. And I think we become very manipulable when we fall for that trap.
Yes.
Because people use artists and famous faces on ads for a reason.
Yeah.
And now if you think outside of the realm of ads, you can see the realm of propaganda, of the realm of indoctrination, and many others.
Yeah.
And the
Social
same happens.
engineering?
And the same happens. And it's just exactly because of that you said. Because people are kind of bypassing their objectivity, because the source is one that they trust, because they like their music, they like their movies, they like whatever.
Yeah. And look, Roman here is saying, making a good comment as well. He's saying, I liked Motley Crue due to their party girls and wild rich lifestyle. That's what we all want, but in hindsight now it's bad. But we still want it. Yeah, man, you're right. I would address this comment from this perspective. First, why would you want it? Who doesn't want babes? And kind of have been able to do wherever you want money-wise, right? Obviously, everybody will want it, man. But why do we find it to be problematic when you truly stop to think about it? Because you know that it's the pleasure and the success and the fun is momentary. What comes next and the repercussions, mostly the repercussions, is what stops the vast majority of us into following that extreme path. That, in my perspective, it's what makes someone worth of your time when it comes to morality, right, or role model. Because every single one of us is prey to the same vices, man. Every single one of us would like to have unlimited money, unlimited babes, unlimited power.
Yeah.
I meant you. That was a Star Wars reference, a terrible one, mind you. Yeah.
And also, given the context of the conversation, I didn't even see it coming.
Oh, man. Now look at that. So, of course, every single one of us wants that, man. The thing is that I happen to be a fan of Marcus Aurelius, okay? Marcus Aurelius was the Roman emperor. He's known for being probably the last good emperor of Rome, but also as one of the most important minds behind the whole concept of Stoicism. Not the Stoicism promoted by shitty Marvel movies in which every woman appearing on a screen on a superhero's skin suit is always like this. No expression at all. That's not the Stoicism. Stoicism is being able to withstand and react to reality with the coolest mindset possible, therefore allowing you to come with the best, most rational decision, okay, to solve a problem. Mind yourself, and this is something that I always like to do every morning, because it's something that he did. In his memories, I recommend you to get them. They are widely available. They are called the Meditations. He wrote as part of him holding himself responsible for his actions. always wrote all of the teachings that he should know in order to act in accord to justice and being a good emperor, right? So I like to imagine myself in his position from time to time, because think of this: you are the actual emperor, controller. You are the top dog of every piece of land that is known at that point in history. Every single human being in that territory is yours to do whatever with.
It bows to you.
They bow to you, everybody. You have control over the most powerful, insanely well organized army ever in history, controlling basically the entirety of the known world. How can you stop yourself from being just a man, just for you to next morning start thinking that you're not a man, you're the God Emperor of mankind?
Mm-hmm.
He did, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he did it was by understanding the importance of self-control and restraint. That doesn't mean that you have to become a freaking monk and be a moralist, a preacher on the streets attacking everybody that looks funny.
Mm-hmm.
No, in reality, it's you being able to face everything that comes to you and being cool-headed enough so you can analyze the entire thing from a proper and correct angle. What's the proper and correct angle? The one that is reality itself. There is no such a thing as multiple perspectives. Yeah, there are, but there is one truth. Therefore, what we can aspire to is get us closer to, or should aspire for, is to get us close to the truth. Therefore, we can get and make the best decision. So, in the case of this good example that Roman proposed, even though I would love to have the lifestyle of Motley Crue, I know that in the end I would be unhappy, because it will lead me on a path of more self-indulgence. Because what happens after you had the wildest party ever? The next one will be compared to this one,
Mm-hmm.
and the next one after that one is gonna still be compared to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And if the one that you're using as your measuring point was the wildest ever,
Mm-hmm.
you start to feel bored out of these ones.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? I need more again.
Mm-hmm.
But this time around, more.
Yeah.
And you start to see where this is gonna take you.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna set you on a path of self-destruction,
Mm-hmm.
because you are now dedicating yourself entirely to the carnal pleasures of the world. And one thing that makes carnal pleasures of the world what they are is that they are gonna finish.
Mm-hmm.
They will not go forever,
Mm-hmm.
because you eventually have to die. We're actually coming back from a funeral. Look at that! How poetic that is.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, it rhymes. I hear Roman is saying, everybody in the public eye is a role model. Good point. Whether they know it, like it or not, good point.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are role models because you reach people all over the world. Now what you do will determine exactly, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your kind words, Roman. And you are right. We try to be as less stupid every time we turn on the freaking cameras here.
To a variety degrees of success.
Yeah, and usually we fail at it. But in all jokes aside, a good chunk of and this show, developing this show in particular,
Mm-hmm.
has been tough,
Mm-hmm.
because we have had several discussions on what to do with it. At the beginning, we were trying to do it, harkening back several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We started to do the show trying to do some form of interviews and just having fun, right? Talking to other musicians, and that was it.
Yeah.
Then we canceled the show for almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then we have this conversation, like, dude, doing this whole thing with the studio put me in a kind of role model position, because you usually deal with either musicians younger than you or older than you, but the vast majority of cases they're younger than you.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up in an unwillingly fashion being kind of like a big brother role or a stepdad role, because you deal with issues, man. These music and art in general tend to attract people that are not necessarily going through the best moment in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And music my guesstimate, I would like to hear your opinion regarding that. I think it's because music has this quality to it that allows you to not vent your frustrations, but you do something good out of those moments of pain and frustration that attracts people that are going through rough spots.
I agree. Let me try to finish off a thought in my head here.
Go.
I think there's a reason why people will find music to express not only any feelings, but the feelings of more angst or more, well, dissatisfaction or stuff like that. And I think it's because we live in a time where things are a little bit more tame, they're a little bit more sanitized. But I mean that in a very negative way.
Yes,
I don't mean this
I was
positive.
with you.
I think that people don't feel free to express all sorts of emotion under regular social circumstances.
Got you.
Maybe some type of emotions, let's say angst, let's say dissatisfaction and stuff like this, is kind of reserved to other forms of expression like music nowadays, because you don't feel free to actually express those on a daily basis.
Good point.
Because people are kind of, they were taught that that's bad.
Yeah.
That this is incorrect to manifest, for instance, to shout or to use your voice in a way that is a little bit more what people would call aggressive nowadays, for instance.
But at the same time telling you that you should be overly emotional.
Exactly.
It's
But those emotions, let's say the angst,
yes.
nowadays expressing dissatisfaction, expressing angst is seen as aggression.
Yeah.
And it's something that is tamed.
Yeah, because it's toxic.
Yes.
How dare you?
So that's why I think the realm of music end up bringing those people in.
Especially rock music, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Because rock, I have never lived through a world in which rock music was cool or popular. Because again, the tired but true joke of I want to get chicks, let's get a guitar. Every single chick around the world is gonna fall for me.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Nobody. No, it never worked. They only went 2 days. That never worked. Never worked. It's even that meme that shit. He got a guitar. He's gonna play one. Yeah, he's gonna play one more, and ruins the party. Yeah, man. Because in my particular personal case, I got the guitar because I wanted babes. But now that I think about it in hindsight, like, wait a second, was it? Yeah, it was the babes, but why did I want to get babes? Obviously. Yeah, bad. But I stuck to it, even though it didn't grant me babes. Why did I stuck to it? It allowed me, at least for me, to metastasize, or just for lack of a better term, ideas, thoughts, and emotions in a way that I couldn't do through the use of language. And as I've been developing myself as a man, and of course developing myself as a musician, learning the craft, becoming better at it, allegedly, I'm working on it every day, not allegedly, but not necessarily improving. That's a fact.
Big distinction.
Just working hard is an equal result, okay? That has nothing. They're not necessarily, they're not mutually exclusive, mind you. So, you're wrecking your ass, usually yields no results. But whenever you hit gold, you do hit gold, right?
Yeah.
So, I have realized that it's not only due to a need, it's not a need to express ideas. It's duty. It's a little bit more than that. Because at the beginning, probably I did it out of just venting my anxiety and all of my frustrations as a teenager, right? But then you keep progressing in life and you realize that it's never been about that, man. And in introspection, in those moments in which you try to you do the deep look in the mirror. What am I doing with my life? You realize that you did it, and you are still doing it out of a sense of responsibility. The whole thing of breaking your ass, trying to stop sucking less, just for one day, is not out of you wanting to prove something. You have the you know that there is a reason for it.
You know you have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
You are ought to do it, and if you don't do it, you go to hell. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I think it's very important for anybody to find that path, and I think everybody has it. In my case, was through music. I can tell you that it hasn't been one that has yielded success in the ways that you might think of. It has given me many things, bad, terrible, awful things, sucky, but also very valuable ones. But hasn't been manifested in the way of wealth, if you wish. But that doesn't mean that it won't come as well. And in my personal experience and my own interpretation of these facts or this series of events, I see it as a way for me to develop into the one that will have the wits, allegedly, and at least will be not retarded enough to control himself when the wild parties and hot babes appear. Get me?
Yeah.
Here Roman is saying, Roman, well, musicians do not have a track record of role models. Yeah, that's a fact, especially in rock, because of lifestyles that they led. Beethoven was known to its party, was known to outparty his guest. I think it comes with packs. Yeah, man. That's why I think when you get into music, there's something up with you, man.
But look,
You're kind of troubled.
Let me try to no coping mechanism. Just trying to
Roman.
to reason out of the situation. I think it comes to intensity. We talked last week on a different show we have here that happens on Thursdays. That we talk about music that doesn't suck.
Yes, mind that, by the way.
We ended up talking about Diamond Dave.
David
Roth from Van Halen. And we went into the whole matter of partying and stuff like that. But we also touched the point that he seems to be that person. Like he's that. Because even you brought into the conversation the whole thing about him trying to cross the canal of
Panama
Canal.
He was crossing
whatever.
the jungle, something.
But you see that intensity. There's a fire there.
You need that, man.
Yeah, and I think usually now thinking on the whole notion of rock and roll having people that are not necessarily good role models because they're prone to excesses and stuff like that, I think it's probably let's call it a bad channeling of that intensity.
Good point.
Because maybe music is the good route. Maybe good music is the good part of the channeling of that intensity, that fire.
Yeah.
And that's why it resonates with us so much. It has that power to move you.
Get you, man.
But the other side of the coin is maybe excesses, maybe too much.
Look, as the old adage says, as above so below, man. People who happens to be, let's say, feisty, kind of intense, allows them to develop. Well, in certain realms, total and complete excellency. Think of a good musicians, because those are the ones we're talking about, right? If you are dull in real life, chances are you won't be able to make music that is not dull.
Yeah.
Because you need to have that level of passion for life. And I was able to give you an example. Think of Michael Jordan. Great. All around sportsman guy, sports guy. I don't know of any form of mismatch or shenanigans performed by him back in the heyday.
Yeah.
I only know him out of his own excellence. I mean, being just the top of the game and being fully dedicated. But I think the reason why he was different from Magic Johnson, who happens to be probably equally, a little bit even better. I don't know. I'm not that big into basketball, but I know both of them were fantastic. But Magic Johnson was a mess, man. He had plenty of scandals. Yeah. Health and vices related. So out of what a terrible lifestyle, man.
But look, I think actually bringing Michael Jordan to the conversation.
Just to finish off, I think the difference between both of them.
Yeah.
Discipline. Because if I can praise something out of Michael Jordan was discipline, and discipline doesn't starts off at the court and ends in the court. It's something that you have to carry yourself with around every freaking day. in my case, don't think of me as somebody who hasn't done shit. I done my fair share of rock and roll stunts, man. I'm gonna put it this way: I almost died in a hurricane out of a rock and roll adventure, man, in the middle of the ocean. He knows the story. I won't give you details in here because it's long, it's fun, it's dangerous, and it's not PG. So I cannot tell I cannot spill the beans here. But yes, but I can tell you that I ended up in that terrible scenario in which I basically faced the music out of my own stupidity, out of the passion-driven rock and roll adventure, right?
The fire.
That fire. That was probably the lesson that set me in the right and in the straight and narrow, man. Allegedly.
Look, I like the fact that you brought Michael Jordan into the conversation because I actually think he's a great example of this whole thing with this intensity, and I find it interesting. After the whole thing with basketball, you saw him doing other sports like baseball, golfing, and stuff like that with a similar amount of intensity.
Yeah.
And I feel that
Success, something else.
No, yeah, something else because you can't be the best of the best in everywhere.
Impossible.
But to a pro level, actually, I think he went pro in
baseball.
In baseball,
Even golf.
yeah. And what does he show me? To some degree, be it conscious or unconscious, he understood his fire needed sports.
Yes.
Because maybe his career in basketball ended, but he couldn't. He needed that channel.
Good point.
He needed that channel in order to actually canalize correctly his fire, his intensity.
Good point.
More than likely, if he hadn't gone into other kind of sports, he would have gone into a very bad route.
Yeah, because he would have met JCVD when JCVD was a mess. JCVD, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
Awesome. Huge fan. But what a mess of a guy, man. Yeah, he also had his own redemption arc. For those of you who are young enough to don't know of him, what's wrong with you? You should be. Is that or you're a fan of Steven Seagal? But Jean-Claude Van Damme was a huge star back in the 90s, early 90s. Action star, renowned for his kicks and splits.
And mullet.
And mullets, depending on the movie.
Somehow.
Yeah, gloriously rocking those mullets back in the day. But he's very passionate.
Yeah.
He's somebody that, there is that fire, man. He's somebody who's very, very passionate about everything he does in life.
Yeah.
And when he had attained success with a movie that was basically already canned, that he saved, and it was his script, it was his sheer dedication to it that not only allowed the movie to be produced, but became a super success and made him a household Hollywood name out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah. But it went up to his head.
It's super high, and he started to every year he was the releasing more and more successful movies, but you started to see decline in the quality of the movies, the quality of his performances, and also you started to see a rise in whenever when it comes to scandals and controversies and him just picking up fights with everybody. So as you can imagine, his star was that bright that it burned out. And during the late 90s and early 2000s, he basically was a nobody. He lost everything, money-wise. Of course, he never went poor, but he lost a good chunk, man. But he got his stuff in order, and he became once again a good human being.
Yeah, and I think he is one of those cases of that redemption arc that we're talking about, which is something to be valued, to be learned from. Because not necessarily that you're gonna follow on his footsteps.
Because in this case, I don't admire him out of his wild lifestyle. What I admire of him is having the balls to recognize that he was a drug addict, and a mess. And finding a way to fix it up.
To get his stuff in order.
Yeah, and that's the reason why in the case of Alex Cooper or freaking Dave Mustaine and all of those rock and rollers that we mentioned before, they were messes, and some of them still are, man. But it takes balls to recognize publicly that you are a mess and you need help, man. And that's something that, calling spade a spade, man, you can't deny that that's respectable, man.
Yeah, it is.
And but nothing comes out of it if you don't put your hands there, you yourself in motion, right? That's why I'm just letting their actions speak for themselves. I'm not gonna put them in a good or bad position. It's their actions, and history will be the one to decide.
Yeah.
So if we want to go in that note, final comment would be, I think the core concept of a role model is someone that, first and foremost, we have to understand that we're human beings, right? And what makes a human being be a human being besides mortality? Imperfection. Okay? So, a role model cannot be perfect. If we're starting from that premise, then what would make somebody a good role model? Somebody who, even though is still extremely human and is full of faults, his actions, his fits are bigger and promote better things than his ills.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically speaking a hero.
Mm-hmm.
If you start to analyze from that perspective, you're going down to the very definition of what makes a hero.
Mm-hmm.
What's heroic? What makes somebody a hero is someone who understands, who acts in accord to reality, based on what is just and what is right, based on right reason. Okay, and if you want to get the truest definition of a villain, is somebody who praises what is his above what is true. And I didn't come up with it; it was Aristotle. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so role models are a tricky subject because you can easily put them in a higher pedestal than they deserve, or you can be easily disappointed when you realize they still have to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment of, oh, he's too human. Of course, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
So be careful with that. What do you think?
I think as a final piece of comment or insight, I think that even though we've been talking about artists or people in a position of influence for the entirety of the show, which was basically the point of the show, every single one of us exerts some form of influence in someone, in some small circle. Some people, some of us are gonna influence more people, some less, but everybody has some form of influence over someone.
Yeah.
And I think under that premise would be very wise to try to be the best role model we can. Of course, if you have more people being followed or being influenced by you, maybe that responsibility is higher. But I think the person, the individual in himself, is the first to benefit from trying to become better, trying to be a better role model. Because if you're actually a good role model, it means that you're someone worth following and you're doing something right,
yes,
basically. So I think even looking from the perspective, it can be a good approach to life, trying to become the best role model that you can.
Yeah, if I may, because you got me into thinking what Roman said, because Roman mentioned that everybody, whenever you hit the street, you are in a way a role model because somebody will look up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you will impact somebody on the
Mm-hmm.
streets. What if every moment of your life you aspire to become a role model worth of your own attention?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think about that. So on that note, thank you for joining, thank you for watching. Yeah. And if you want to be part of these conversations, just make sure to click the freaking and stupid notification bell, because it seems that everything means nothing other than freaking bells. And also, if you want to support this kind of content and avoiding me from, getting me healthier, because you can clearly see that I'm kind of wrecked. The best way to do it is by joining this channel, subscribing, but also joining our Discord, link in the description down below, where we can keep up with the conversation. Yeah. So with that being said, thank you for joining. And as soon as we meet you, look at that, talking about something good. Never let anybody tell you what to dream about. Think for yourself and make your own decisions. Because whoever is trying to tell you that they know what you need is because they know that they can manipulate you. So come up with your own decisions and don't let anybody tell you what to dream about. And as every single time, we'll see you when we see you.